Yeah. Okay, guys, so we're going to do a little bit more. I know you're probably not quite fully up to speed on naming, but it's just naming conventions. You guys can do that anytime. So let's move on to alignments and stuff like that. Okay, so there are a couple of features in the Revit environment that allow you to align views properly. One thing I will say is if you take a look at like a good set of drawings, and I'm going to test this, I haven't tested it yet, so hopefully I'm not putting Poussin on the spot here by, saying a good set of drawings needs this if he didn't do it. But basically, let's see, how do I center this? There. Okay, so basically a good set of drawings is going to have a floor plan that that is sort of in exactly the same position relative to the other sheet. So if I switch to, and now I don't know what I did here. Oh, that's right. So if you switch from sheet to sheet, the floor plan should be, and all of your grids should be in exactly the same position, which unfortunately they're not.
No.
Well, no, they are. So the grid head at the top, you probably looked at the A grid, right?
Yeah.
The grid head is in a different position, but if you look at the position here, up and down for grid 1, and the position over here for that, you'll see that it is the same. So the key that you can use to test is to kind of take a little snapshot of this thing. And I copy that. I don't know if this will allow me to drop it in exactly the same spot over here. No, it didn't let me do that. No, it won't drop it in the same spot. Anyway, you can do an overlay. But yeah, they are in the same spot. It's just the grid head moved. So let's jump back into Revit. Okay, so what we're trying to do is align these things to be in exactly the same position. Revit has a function called a guide grid, which, if I must say, is really not that useful. Okay, it's kind of useful if you want to, but I find it to be easier to just draw a line. But anyway, let's, I forget how to turn it on. Hang on, let me remember that. I don't use it very much, clearly. Okay, so under the View tab, there's a function here called Guide Grid. If you click that, it's going to open up a guide grid sort of setting. You can create a new guide grid and call it whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it like 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. Hit OK. So, huh? Did I do that too fast? Sorry.
Yeah.
So go to View, click on Guide Grid, and then you can create a new guide grid and call it whatever you want. 1 inch by 1 inch or 1/2 inch. You could just say 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and hit OK. So this little blue grid pops up. The blue grid can be changed. You can change the properties of it. So if I select it, you'll see that it has a guide spacing function and a name. But I could change this to 1/2 inch, and it'll create little 1/2 inch blocks. 1/2 inch might be a little too brutal, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to go to I'm going to go back to 1 inch. Okay, so this grid can be moved. It can be resized and positioned and everything like that. So if you want to, you can sort of pull it in to be aligned with the edges of the sheet. Okay, and you can move it using the move command. I don't think it aligns, does it? I don't think it aligns. I know, it should be smarter, right? So I just kind of approximate it like that and just drop it on the corner. But so here's, it's a really good concept, right? Because you would think that I can go into the sheet and just kind of set it, and then I know exactly where I want to put these lines. But it doesn't have like intermediate lines to say like I would need to put this corner here. So what you really wind up having to do is sort of pulling this thing back to sort of figure out where exactly do I want the corner of my building to be, right? So you pick something like, let's go to this corner right here. Okay, so then you grab your view, you hit the move command, you go from this, and you can actually snap to the grid there. Okay, so now my building is in exactly that position. It works for my floor plan. It does not work for other sheets. Okay, well, it will work for other sheets for floor plans that are in the same scale and everything like that, but I'd have to change my grid if I want to do other types of views. But anyway, what the purpose that this does serve is if I go from my roof plan to my first floor plan, whoops, not the view, the sheet, I can go to my sheet properties, go down to guide grid, and I can turn on 1/2 inch, and it pops up like that. So now I need to just grab my view, grab the intersection of those grids, and put it in the same position. So now this floor plan and my roof plan are in exactly the same position relative to those two sheets. Did you guys get that? Okay.
I have a question. So when we want to print it, is there or no? You have to.
No, it will not print. But for your own sanity, I suggest turn it off once you place it. Get rid of it. So I'll show you guys again. Yes?
I'm not sure if I just missed that, but can you set it up so that anytime you load a new page, that's always located in the same spot? Or do you have to manually place your grid at the top?
No. So if I create a new sheet, basically you just have to turn it on. So no matter what sheet I'm on, so that's my roof plan, this is my floor plan, right? Let's say I just created this sheet and I put my floor plan on, I'm like, I want to move it into place. All I have to do is go to my properties for the sheet and turn it on down here. Just like that. And then you move it, knock it into place. Okay. Terumi, where did you get lost in that? Just. Oh, yeah, you just turn it on. Is that what you needed to see again? It doesn't show up on the sheet automatically. You have to turn it on. Yeah. So. Yes. Yeah, because it's named. I named it 1/2 inch, even though it's a 1 inch grid. I named it 1/2 inch. So this one, I'm going through the process of setting up my sheet. I switch my scale, and I'm like, okay, now I need to position it. All I have to do is go to my sheet properties, turn the grid on, and it shows up there. And then I can move it into place. Like that. There. Now all three of those sheets are in exactly the same position. All right, so I'm going to stop this video, and before we proceed, please get your floor plans, reflected ceiling plans, and roof plan located in the same position. Floor plan, reflected ceiling plan, and roof plan.